discuss possible school closures, repurposing, and boundary changes on February 19th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the auditorium of Cactus High School, located at 6330 West Greenway Road, Glendale, Arizona, 85306. So this meeting is called to order. Moving on to 2 opening exercises, 2.1 moment of silence, 2.2 pledge of allegiance, and the preamble of the Declaration of Independence. Please rise for the presentation of colors led by Cactus High School AFJROTC under the direction of Chief Nelson. Please join us for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You may be seated. Thank you. Moving on to 3, presentation and public hearing. 3.1, convene public hearing pursuant to ARS 15-341, 32, and 37. Consider possible school closures, repurposing, and boundary changes. I'm going to motion to convene a public hearing for consideration of possible school closures, repurposing, and boundary changes. I just need a second. So we have a motion made by myself and a second made by board member Mrs. Bowles. And our secretary, Azure, is joining us this evening, so she will do a roll call vote. Yes. Motion passes with 5 yeas. So we will convene the public hearing. And I just wanted to say real quick, as president of the Peoria Unified Governing Board, I wanted to begin to sincerely thank every member of our community who is here tonight. Your time, your voice, and your investment in our schools matter deeply to us. Tonight's public hearing is focused specifically on school closures, repurposing of school sites, and matters related to Cactus High School transition. These are significant decisions that affect students, families, staff, and neighborhoods. We truly value your feedback, your ideas, and your concerns. I also want to take a moment to explain something that sometimes can feel frustrating during public hearings. Under Arizona public meeting laws, the governing board is not permitted to respond to individual comments made during the hearing. That means we cannot engage in dialogue, answer questions while you are speaking. It is not because we don't care. It is because we are required to follow Arizona law when conducting a public hearing. Please know that we are listening carefully. Every comment made tonight becomes part of public record and is considered as we deliberate. We strongly encourage everyone who wants to speak to fill out a comment card. And if you are comfortable doing so, please include your contact information. While we cannot respond during the hearing itself, if we have clarifying questions or would like to follow up on an idea you have shared, having your contact information allows district staff to reach out afterward. Many thoughtful ideas deserve deeper conversation, and that helps us continue the dialogue appropriately. I also need to remind everyone that by law, tonight's comments must remain on the posted agenda topic. The topic again is school closures, repurposing considerations, and the Cactus High School transition. We cannot legally step outside of that scope. If comments move off topic, I will respectfully pause your time and ask to redirect your remarks to the agenda item. That is not a reflection on the importance of your concern. It is just simply our obligation to follow the law and maintain the integrity of the hearing. We are committed to transparency, to responsible governance, and to hearing from our community in a respectful and orderly manner. These conversations are not easy, but they are important, and we appreciate your engagement. And I will turn it over to our superintendent, Dr. Casey Summer.
Try that again. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. So members of the governing board, students in our audience, families, staff, and community members, tonight's presentation outlines phase 1 considerations related to school closure, repurposing of facilities, and boundary adjustment. Conversations involving schools are never easy. Our schools represent far more than buildings. They are communities based on relationships, traditions, and shared history. At the same time, we carry a responsibility to align our facilities and operations with enrollment realities and long-term sustainability. This is not a final decision. Tonight is not a vote. This is part of a public process required by state statute. And our goal this evening is clarity, our commitment is transparency, and our responsibility is stewardship. Our enrollment has declined. Our facilities were built for a different era. We must ensure that every dollar we spend advances student opportunity and protects classroom learning for the long term. We will walk through the data, the process, and a draft proposal. You may agree, you may disagree, but you will understand the data, the process, and the reasoning behind this proposal. So this work began with data, not with a closure idea. The district engaged Grace Design Studios to conduct an independent facilities and enrollment analysis as part of our master capital planning process. That diagnostic confirmed what our internal enrollment data has shown for several years. Our current footprint was built for a larger student population than we now serve. The planning process examined enrollment trends, facility utilization, program needs, operational efficiency, deferred maintenance, and long-term financial sustainability. This is not a short-term reaction. It is a long-term systems review. The findings indicate that consolidation and repurposing are likely necessary if we are to preserve classroom resources and protect instructional quality across the district. This is about aligning facilities with our current reality so we can protect what matters most: student learning and student success. The Master Capital Plan does not prescribe which schools close. It is a district-wide diagnostic tool that identifies structural pressure points. And the data consistently converges on what we'll refer to as Area 2 as the most acute intersection of declining enrollment, underutilized buildings, aging infrastructure, deferred maintenance needs, operational inefficiencies. And when multiple stress indicators align geographically, responsible leadership requires us to examine that area first. This is not a reflection of school performance. It reflects structural misalignment between enrollment and facility capacity. For planning purposes, Area 2 represents the most significant concentration of that misalignment. This slide summarizes the capacity analysis conducted as part of the master capital planning process. Functional capacity reflects how many students our facilities were designed to serve. Current enrollment reflects how many students we are serving today, including preschool. District-wide, Peoria Unified has the capacity to serve approximately 47,473 students. Our current enrollment, including preschool, is 36,659 students. That represents 10,814 seats that are currently not utilized, approximately 22.8% of our total district capacity. Nearly 1/4 of our total facility capacity is currently unused. Those facilities still require utilities, maintenance, staffing, and long-term capital upkeep. When capacity and enrollment are misaligned at this level, it creates financial inefficiencies that ultimately divert resources away from classrooms. When broken down geographically, again, Area 2 shows the most significant disparity. Area 2 is under-enrolled by approximately 6,039 students relative to its functional capacity. More than half of the district's underutilized elementary space is currently concentrated in Area 2. Again, I will stress, this is not about school quality or overall performance. It is about structural alignment. And responsible stewardship requires us to address where misalignment is most acute. This map shows the district as a whole. Peoria Unified is organized geographically to support planning, enrollment management, and operational alignment. While tonight's focus is on Area 2, it is important to understand that the master plan reviewed the entire district. The proposal before you is phased, beginning where data shows the greatest urgency. For planning purposes, the district is divided into these 4 geographical areas. And phase 1 proposes actions within Area 2, specifically starting within the cactus cluster. This phased approach allows the district to respond where misalignment is greatest without creating simultaneous disruption across all 4 areas. Sequencing matters. It allows us to implement changes thoughtfully rather than reactively. The master plan identifies structural misalignment in Area 2. When enrollment declines and facilities remain static, districts must evaluate a range of potential actions. Those actions can include boundary adjustments, grade reconfiguration, program shifts, consolidation of campuses, and repurposing of facilities. No single tool solves a structural imbalance. The purpose of this proposal is to examine the combination of actions that most responsibly aligns enrollment, facilities, and programming. The data indicates that Area 2 contains the district's most significant concentration of enrollment decline and underutilized space. And again, for that reason, Area 2 is the appropriate place to begin phase 1. We are not targeting any specific community. It is about, however, responding where misalignment is most pronounced. Why a phased approach? The scope of Area 2, again, requires deliberate planning. Attempting to implement district-wide changes simultaneously would create unnecessary disruption for students, families, and staff. And a phased approach allows the district to focus on one geographic cluster at a time. It allows for careful implementation, monitoring, and adjustment. Phasing is not delay, it is discipline. It ensures that change, if approved, is executed with stability rather than haste. Phase 1 proposes focusing within the cactus cluster in Area 2. The cactus cluster represents a contained geographic region where enrollment decline and facility capacity intersect most significantly. Cactus High School currently operates below its functional capacity. That available capacity allows the district to consolidate grades within the cluster while maintaining continuity of programming. By concentrating adjustments within this cluster, the district can limit system-wide disruption and provide clarity for families. The proposal leverages existing capacity to support expanded programming opportunities, particularly for junior high students transitioning into secondary learning environments. Again, this is a draft proposal being presented for public consideration. Beginning in the 26-27 school year, the draft proposal includes the following actions within the cactus cluster. Kachina and Pioneer Elementary Schools would close as K-8 campuses, and their buildings would be repurposed for other district programming, which I will address later in the presentation. Students currently residing within the Kachina attendance boundary would attend Canyon Elementary School for grades K through 6. Students currently residing within the Pioneer attendance boundary would attend Foothills Elementary School for grades K through 6. 7th and 8th grade students from Kachina, Pioneer, Canyon, and Foothills would attend Cactus High School beginning again 26-27 school year. And under this proposal, Cactus High School would transition to a 7-12 model. Peoria eCampus would discontinue serving K through 8 students, but would continue operating as a 9 through 12 asynchronous high school program. And these adjustments are intended to consolidate enrollment within existing capacity and reduce underutilized facilities within Area 2. It is also essential to clarify that specialized programs and services would continue uninterrupted. Succeed students currently at Pioneer would transition to Foothills Elementary alongside their peers for grades K through 6. 7th and 8th grade Succeed students would transition to Cactus High School with grade level peers. The Arise program currently housed at Kachina would relocate to other campuses as part of a broader effort to expand programming opportunities. The Works Transition program would expand within a repurposed location. Canyon Elementary would continue to house the Sunflower School. And very important to mention, no student's individualized education program, or IEP, services supports would change as a result of a facility decision. Service continuity remains a priority throughout this process. Looking ahead to the 28-29 school year, the draft proposal includes an additional adjustment within the Area 2 cluster. 7th and 8th grade students currently attending Oakwood would transition to Cactus High School at that time. Oakwood would then become a pre-K through 6th grade campus. A preschool program would be added to expand early childhood learning opportunities within the community. It is important to note that Oakwood is currently operating near capacity. This adjustment is part of a long-range alignment strategy within the cluster and is not a response to current enrollment concerns at Oakwood. This sequencing allows for a multi-year transition, providing families and staff time to prepare and adjust rather than implementing all changes simultaneously. This slide provides a school-by-school snapshot of current capacity compared to current enrollment within the Cactus cluster. Cactus High School has a functional capacity of 1,932 students and a current enrollment of 1,040. Canyon Elementary has a capacity of 493 students and is currently serving 284. Foothills Elementary has a capacity of 874 and currently serves 489. Kachina Elementary has a capacity of 708 and is currently serving 263 students. Pioneer Elementary has a capacity of 636 and currently serves 419 students. Oakwood Elementary is currently operating near capacity at 962 students with a functional capacity of 946. This snapshot illustrates the uneven distribution of enrollment across facilities within the cluster. This map illustrates Area 2 and the Cactus cluster specifically. The outline boundaries reflect the geographic footprint under consideration in Phase 1. The purpose of showing this visually is to provide transparency about which campuses and attendance zones are included in this proposal. This proposal is intentionally concentrated within a contained geographic cluster to limit, again, system-wide disruption and allow for focused implementation. These boundaries are presented as part of the draft proposal and remain subject to board consideration following public input. This view provides a closer look at the Cactus cluster, again, to show exactly how current attendance zones would shift under the draft proposal. And boundary adjustments are one of the tools available to align enrollment with available capacity. This slide reflects projected enrollment for the 26-27 school year if the Phase 1 proposal were approved. Under this model, Cactus High School would increase from 1,040 students to a projected 1,385 students, still below its functional capacity of 1932. Canyon Elementary would increase from 284 students to approximately 367 students, moving closer to its capacity of 493. Foothills Elementary would increase from 489 students to approximately 640 students, moving closer to its capacity of 874. These projections demonstrate improved alignment between enrollment and facility capacity while maintaining appropriate operating margins. The intent is not to overcrowd our campuses, but to right-size utilization across the cluster. And these proposed adjustments are driven by enrollment distribution and facility utilization, not by school performance. It is important to note, again, that enrollment numbers fluctuate throughout the year, and the figures presented tonight reflect current enrollment data as part of the master capital planning process. But while those minor fluctuations may occur, the broader enrollment trend over multiple years shows sustained decline within Area 2. And again, this proposal is based on long-term trend data and not short-term variation. Okay, so the next portion of this presentation focuses specifically on the proposed 7 through 12 configuration at Cactus High School. A combined campus model requires thoughtful planning to ensure age-appropriate separation, supervision, and academic identity. What follows outlines the proposed structural and safety framework under consideration. But before I continue, I do want to acknowledge our principal of Cactus, Christy Hammer, as well as the entire Cactus High School team, as well as other principals across the Cactus Feeder cluster. Kristen Balthus from Canyon Elementary, Sherry Stillman from Foothills Elementary, Natalie Steele from Kachina Elementary, Stacy Bagwell from Oakwood Elementary, and Becky Heiner from Pioneer Elementary. Periods of transition place additional responsibility on school leaders and their teams, and I appreciate their professionalism, collaboration, and continued focus on students throughout this process. But let's talk safety and security as part of the junior high model at Cactus. A central consideration in any 712 model is safety and age-appropriate separation. Under this proposal, junior high students would have dedicated instructional space within the Cobra courtyard and the 300 building classrooms. Core academic classes for grades 7 and 8 would take place within that defined area. Separate restrooms and locker room facilities would be designated for junior high students. Lunch periods would be structured to maintain separation. School dances and student events would be organized by grade level. Junior high students would not be enrolled in core academic classes alongside upperclassmen, except in specific situations where students may be accelerating. Identification measures, including lanyards and student IDs, would visually distinguish grade bands to support supervision and safety. Our overall intent is to maintain junior high identity while leveraging available capacity within the Cactus campus. Next few slides are diagrams that illustrate the proposed physical layout within Cactus High School. The shaded or designated areas reflect the primary instructional spaces for junior high students. And this configuration is designed to create defined learning zones while maintaining appropriate supervision and operational flow. Again, the goal is structured separation within a shared campus footprint. Based on what we know thus far, beyond facility alignment, this proposal includes an academic structure designed to support junior high learners. The proposed model is an integrated and accelerated framework designed to support students' academic needs as they prepare for transition into high school and beyond. The model under consideration includes 3 elective pathways, providing structured exploration opportunities. Students would select 4 elective experiences, 1 from each pathway, with flexibility for an additional selection. Band would remain a year-long commitment, consistent with current expectations. Junior high students would follow a 7:20 a.m. to 2:20 p.m. schedule. Transportation would be provided for students residing within the newly adjusted boundaries. The elements are designed to maintain strong academic identity while operating within a consolidated campus model. This slide illustrates the structure of the elective model. All students would take 1 elective from each of the 3 pathways: creative arts, career exploration, and physical education. The 4th elective may be selected from any pathway, allowing for student choice and flexibility. Band is the only pathway that requires a full year commitment, again, consistent with current expectations. Elective classes would include only 7th and 8th grade students. The only possible exception may be a mixed choir that includes 9th graders. The intent is to provide structured exploration while maintaining junior high identity within the campus. Course offerings listed are anticipated and subject to refinement based on staffing, enrollment, and student interest. These pathways are intended to broaden exposure and engagement during the junior high years while maintaining structured academic progression. I'd now like to briefly walk through each pathway so you can see the types of experiences we are designing within each of these pathways. The creative arts pathway is designed to ensure that students continue to have meaningful access to the arts during their junior high years. These anticipated offerings include visual arts, music, theater, and digital media experiences. The goal here is structured exploration, not elimination of opportunity. Final course offerings would be refined based on enrollment, staffing, and student. The career exploration pathway is designed to expose junior high students to real-world skills and emerging fields. These courses introduce engineering concepts, digital communication, logistics, innovation, and civic engagement. The intent is early exploration, helping students begin to identify their interests before entering high school programming. And again, as with all the pathways, course offerings are anticipated and may be adjusted based on demand and staffing. And finally, the physical education pathway maintains a strong focus on health, movement, and teamwork. Offerings would include traditional sports, racket activities, dance, yoga, and recreational fitness. The goal is inclusive participation and structured skill development during the junior high years. Again, all offerings are anticipated and subject to refinement. In addition, if this proposal is approved, repurposed facilities would continue serving educational and district operational functions. Potential uses include the expansion of Peoria Flex Academy, the SOAR Center, the continuation of eCampus at grades 9 through 12, and other district support services. In addition to program alignment, there are financial considerations, and I just want to acknowledge that I know that's one of the questions President Rooks and other governing board members have asked. Preliminary estimates suggest gross savings of approximately $1.8 million annually through closure and consolidation. However, I want to caution there will be associated transition costs related to closure, reconfiguration, relocation, as well as other operational adjustments. So after accounting for those transition costs, projected net savings are estimated to be closer to approximately $1 million annually. These savings reflect operational efficiency and are intended to protect classroom resources district-wide. So with that, this does conclude my section of this presentation, and at this time I would like to invite our Chief Communications Officer and former Cactus Cobra, Mrs. Danielle Airy, to share more about our communication commitments, next steps, and opportunities for continued public input. And thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Summers, and I'm most proud of that last part, former Cactus Cobra, so thank you very much for that. Well, I'm going to share just a little bit about our communication commitments as we have shared when we first rolled out this proposal just last month. We have been committed to providing ongoing updates, both on our website and sending out information to our community and to our parents, families through Parent Square. So hopefully many of you who have joined us this evening who are parents have received those. Also, per state statute, we have sent a mailer to all of the households that fall within the Peoria Unified School District boundaries to make sure all residents within our community were also informed of this proposal and had the opportunity to participate in the public process. You'll see a QR code here on the screen, and you can certainly at any time click on that QR code, which will appear on a number of the slides that follow. It takes you to a link to a feedback form where you can share public comment that's been available to be open to anyone in our community who may want to share their feedback regarding the proposal. That feedback will be shared with our governing board in its entirety. And so if you've already submitted feedback, that will be passed along to the governing board, and then it is open through March 12th March 11th if you would like to add any feedback in to be considered. I also want to share a little bit about the process that governs any time you are discussing a school closure, repurposing, or boundary alignment. You'll see some state statutes referenced on the screen. You also heard President Rooks make reference to statute at the start of our meeting this evening. This public hearing is part of the public input process, but it is also part of statute requiring us to provide an opportunity for the governing board to hear comments for and against the proposal that has been shared. I want to reiterate that it is not a voting item this evening. This is one step in the public input process, and that the board may consider the vote as was shared with our community and on the mailer that was sent around on March 12th. At this time, we will transition to the public comment portion of the evening, and I'll share with Mrs. Rooks that we have approximately 35 public comment slips so that you may judge accordingly. There is an opportunity to provide those comments from 2 different areas that we have set up within the auditorium this evening. There will be a time limit for our speakers as you arrive at the microphone. You will have your time when you arrive, and then certainly, again, you can always provide that public comment through the QR code or through the website if you'd like to provide any additional comments beyond the time that is provided. When we advance to the names for the public comment portion, you will see your name listed on the screen. When you see your name on the screen, you will be in the queue to speak, and we ask that you move to the microphone that is closest to where you see your name listed on the screen. So we have volunteers to assist you. I'm going to ask them both to wave, and you'll head to either the podium that is located here on either the right or the left side of the auditorium in order to begin your comments. President Rooks, will there be a time limit this evening?
You will have 3 minutes for your public comment.
Very good. So 3 minutes for our public comments that will come up to the screen. I know they are going to reset our system here so that you can clearly see those names as they advance on the screen. We will ask that you go forward to the volunteer and towards the podium that is on the side of the screen where you see your name listed, and you'll see our first list of speakers that appear on the screen. And I want to very much thank the volunteers that helped to collect those slips and add them into our system so that we could begin our public input process this evening. While you're making your way over to the microphone, I will just add that you'll see a timer appear on the screen. You'll see one located on the right side, and for those speakers who are on the right side of the auditorium, you may catch a glimpse of a timer that we have located back here behind me. As President Rooks said, she will ask you to conclude your comments once your time is up. I see that we have some of our speakers gathered, so President Rooks, if it's okay with you, we will begin.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Airy.
Very good. Well, if we could start over on this side of the auditorium, that's our left side of the auditorium this evening, and we have Karen Williams that should be up first.
I'm not.
Karen Williams here and ready to speak.
Hi, my name is Karen Williams. Thank you for sharing, Superintendent. That was very beneficial I'm in a community here. My son, who's a former Cactus Cobra High 2024, and I have a nephew who will be graduating here in 2026, this coming May or June. I guess where I'm going to go at is the possible merger. Again, my family and we live not too far, probably about a block away. My son attended Foothills, and came over here to Cactus High. And so I guess my understanding is that we can't ask the questions or anything like that, but I just want to say thank you. And I'm not certain if that QR code will lead to those pamphlets or whatever you shared on there. So that's all I have to say. I had a number of questions, but I know I can't share it, So other than that, thank you for giving that beneficial information, what you shared. So thank you.
Just to clarify, can you pause the time? So you can ask questions. If you have questions, you can ask us. We just can't respond with an answer, but we can have, since you filled out your name and on the piece of paper, we can have district administration reach out with those answers.
Well, being that it is, I know that he shared about the junior high being separated. They will be on the campus, as is my understanding from what you provided on the screenshot. But separate, but what is the security, meaning the security around there? How would it be comparing, you got one resource officer as well, but also like when you drop off kids, what are the the teachers that will be out there to make sure the safety of the kids, not knowing that, you know, you will have junior high compared to high school area. So that would be one of my two questions. And especially the drop off, you know, we know that we kind of get a little bit hectic when we're running off for our, I work from home, which is beneficial, but I still have to drop my nephew off here. So that's the only thing, is just to make sure the safety and the surrounding of the cars. When you make a UE, there's a lot of people that does UEs, you know, in the community, you know, so that's about it. So it's the safety of the kids who crosses the street over that concerns me a little bit, you know, of it. So just to make sure that teachers are out there, our resource officer that will be, because I don't know for sure how that's going to work for the 2026 and 27 year when y'all vote for this. So that's about it. Thank you.
And we'll move over to the right side of the auditorium. Monica Armijo.
Yes, hi. I'm a graduate from the district. Peoria Unified has been a part of my life. The reason that I am here and the person that I am is from this district. I'm currently the ELA teacher at eCampus K-8. And when I joined the campus, it was for the need of the students. We needed it. But I took on the challenge because I believe every student can learn. In our society now, students who need to be at home for any reason are a part of the Peoria Unified community. Since our creation 5 years ago, we have promoted 4 8th grade classes, moved numerous students past grade level expectations, and increased our school letter grade from a C to an A. Without eCampus, many of these students would not be in our community. These students do not need a building to be served. They need qualified teachers that can meet their individual needs. That's what eCampus does. We meet the needs of the students with anxiety, medical situations, behavioral supports, and independent learners that want the best out of their education. We are the sole place, the safe place for these students that also feel bullied and do not belong in an in-person campus. If you close eCampus K-8, these students will have nowhere to go. They will leave our district. We continue to enroll students. Just this week alone, we enrolled 4 students from junior high. Where do they go? Again, they leave our district. Peoria Unified's vision is every student, every day, prepared to shape tomorrow. eCampus supports that mission, and we respectfully request that you keep eCampus K-8 open. Thank you.
Thank you. Brittany Winslow.
Good evening, President Rook and members of the Governing Board. My name is Brittany Winslow, and I am a parent of 2 students at Oakwood Elementary. I am here tonight to strongly oppose the proposal to move 7th and 8th grade students to Cactus High School. 12 and 13-year-olds are still children. They are at a critical stage of emotional, social, and mental development. Placing them on a high school campus alongside 17 and 18-year-olds is not developmentally appropriate, nor does it align with what families expect regarding student safety, supervision, and support. Student safety must be central to this decision. Last year, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office reported a 60% increase in charges relating to child sex trafficking and luring a minor for sexual exploitation. I work for the Scottsdale Police Department. I work alongside our Internet Crimes Against Children unit, and in recent years, we have seen a substantial increase in offenders ages 18 to 25, with children between 9 and 14 as the primary victims. While these statistics highlight young adult offenders, training and experience shows that offending behavior often begins years earlier. Larger campuses with older students creates more anonymity and fewer opportunities for close supervision. Predators exploit gaps. Younger students are safest in environments where they are known, visible, and closely supported. Parents expect the district to reduce risk wherever possible. not expand it. There is also a critical developmental loss being overlooked. Schools like Oakwood, 7th and 8th graders still have recess. They run, they play games, and interact face-to-face. That unstructured play supports emotional regulation, social development, and mental health at a time when anxiety and depression amongst adolescents is at an all-time high. A high school campus is simply not designed to meet those needs. Right now, our 7th and 8th grade students are approximately 1 in 120 per grade. Teachers and staff notice when a child struggles or withdraws. Under this proposal, those students become one of many hundreds on a high school campus. At such a pivotal stage of development, that loss of visibility leads to fewer resources, less individualized attention, and unmet needs, even with the best of intentions. I strongly urge the board to reconsider this proposal and pursue solutions that protect our children and the future of our district. Thank you for letting me the opportunity to speak.
On our right side, Kelsey Walsher.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Walcher, and I'm a parent at Pioneer Elementary. My daughters, Avery, Zoe, and Delaney, are up in the crowd. I'm here to speak against the proposed closure of this campus. Pioneer is more than a building. It is a safe, supportive community where students are known, understood, and cared for. This issue is especially personal to my family because all 3 of my children receive special education services. The consistency and support provided by this campus are not just beneficial, they are essential. The special education team here has been working with Avery since kindergarten, and the stability and trust that have been built are a major factor in our decision to keep our children enrolled here. I am deeply concerned about whether another campus can realistically absorb the numbers and complexity of incoming students with IEPs without compromising services. Students with disabilities are not interchangeable placements. They require appropriate staffing, space, resources, and expertise that must already be in place. Closing this campus risks overwhelming another school and diminishing the quality and consistency of service students are legally and ethically entitled to receive. I am also concerned about the proposal to place 7th and 8th grade students on a high school campus. While they currently attend K-8 setting, a high school environment prevents different social dynamics. Early adolescents are at a critical developmental stage, and an increased exposure to more mature students brings pressures they may not be ready to navigate. Beyond academics and services, this closure would dismantle a tight-knit community of students who have grown up together from kindergarten onward. These children have formed strong, stable friendships over the years in shared classrooms and routines. For many students, these relationships are a critical part of their emotional regulation, social development, and sense of safety at school. The strength of Pioneer also lies in its staff. The teachers and support staff here are strong communicators, highly collaborative, and deeply invested in seeing their students succeed. They work closely with families, problem solve together, and consistently go above and beyond to meet the students where they are. That level of communication and teamwork is one of the reasons this school works so well for my children and so many others. I understand these decisions are complex, and I respect the responsibility you carry. However, before moving forward with the closure, I respectfully ask that you consider allowing Pioneer more time to show you what our community can accomplish. Allow us to increase fundraising efforts, build partnerships, and generate sustainable support for this campus. Work with us to strengthen what is already working rather than eliminate it. Our children deserve stability, meaningful relationships, and an educational environment that continues to meet their needs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Paige Melanchi.
Good evening, President Rooks and members of the board. Thank you for having us here tonight. Our 2 boys attend Oakwood, a 5th grader and a 7th grader, and we have 2 adult children who are Centennial graduates and a granddaughter I'm hoping will be an Oakwood Raider. I'd first like to touch on the safety concerns that I have both as a parent and a nurse. Developmentally, middle schoolers are undergoing rapid changes both physically and mentally. Social growth is marked by a search for identity and high vulnerability to peer pressure. Bullying and high-risk behaviors increase. If you talk to the students and staff at Oakwood, you would know that our school has a low incidence of high-risk behaviors such as vaping, drinking, and using marijuana. I spoke with my niece who attends Castile High School, which is a 7th through 12th grade school in the Chandler district. She did have positive things to say, but such as being able to be on campus with her older brother and feeling more grown up. But she did state that many 8th graders were participating on getting drunk on campus, like the 9th graders are. I am not naive. I was once a middle schooler and I have a middle schooler. However, I know from talking to staff and volunteers that are on campus daily, this conduct is rare. Why are these behaviors rare on our campus? Most students have gone to Oakwood since kindergarten. Our staff, volunteers, and administrators know these students and parents. They are able to nip these risky behaviors in the bud before they become out of control. Our students also have a lot of respect for the staff and teachers and do not want to disappoint them. Moving to Cactus, our vulnerable students will lose this sense of security, both emotionally and physically, with a likely decrease in in-person supervision. Cameras cannot replace physical staff or these relationships. Oakwood middle schoolers also do not have the pressure from the older students like they would at Cactus. I believe that these factors will directly impact my child's success, not only academically, but also emotionally. At the Cactus night, the principal stated that we are building a plane as we are flying it. Although I appreciate her honesty, I do not want my child to get on that plane. Would you want to risk your child's success? This uncertainty will drive parents and students away from Oakwood and hurt enrollment. I have a hard time understanding why you're going to take a school that year after year has over-enrollment and dismantle it. Last night at the board meeting, they stated, we need to right the ship going forward. Our school is sailing smoothly. In fact, it is an example of how to get butts in seats. Coming into our school and community is like stepping back in time when PUSD schools were thriving. The board needs to step back and evaluate how changing a safe, overachieving school is going to help increase enrollment. Many of the parents I've spoken to are already thinking about pulling their kids and using the ESA to attend private schools or choose a charter school, leaving the district altogether. Even our son is reconsidering sending our granddaughter to Oakwood. I understand that we have financial difficulties, but please pause
I
before
apologize.
changing
The time is up.
and causing damage to our schools.
Thank you.
And over on the right, Blakely Slayer.
Good evening, President Rooks and members of the board. My name is Blakely Slayer. I am in 8th grade and I will attend Cactus next year. I would like you to envision this. You walk through the gates of school. You're greeted by warm smiles from teachers. Parents are walking their kids, talking to other parents, making connections. All around campus, the walls are filled with posters from Student Council and NGHS about their future and next fundraiser events. You see athletes dressed in their jerseys to show school pride. In the gym, you see trophies of all kinds of athletic competitions and district championships. All across campus, these accomplishments of students and teachers are displayed, from choir competitions, drama performances, to students winning district patriotic speech competition. This is a school that excels both in and out of the classroom. And if you are lucky, you will visit on a day this school has its monthly Pride Assembly. This is a program run by middle school student council members, where one student from each homeroom is celebrated for their good character. The winners get a lunch and games and prizes of recognition in front of the school. The pictures of Pride winners are hung in the office along with a statement from their teacher about how good they persevere, respect, integrity, and diligence or enthusiasm is showed. The assembly also celebrates the school's clubs, teams, and brings the whole school together. Then teachers participate in challenges and they're cheered on by students, and the assembly ends with everyone line dancing. This is Oakwood. At a prior board meeting, Ms. Proudfit describes how Oakwood is a very special campus. She was right. This is why so many families choose Oakwood instead of their home school. This is why Oakwood is over capacity and is thriving. But this proposal asks you to vote to change all of this. These changes would cause Oakwood to lose its sports, its 7th and 8th grade speech competition, and programs at Oakwood that competes and often wins. These programs incentivize kids to keep their grades up and behave in class. Yet, other schools in the district get to keep these programs. This is not fair. It does not make sense. In the end, I ask, before you vote on this proposal, you should think about the description and ask yourself if you want to destroy it. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Reyes.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me? Cool. All right. So I'm a proud parent of an Oakwood Raider, 2 Cactus Cobras, and an eCampus student. I'm also an educator. I've been in education for 22 years, and I support this new model because I've worked in all the different capacities. I've worked in elementary school, I'm an assistant principal at a middle school, and I also taught high school. Even though it's scary to think about our kids being with high schoolers, my husband and I, we have 4 kids that span those ranges, and honestly, the maturity gap between those kids are much smaller than K-8 students. The kids will be fine, okay, even though it's scary. They are resilient. They're much more resilient than we give them credit for. And we support this measure. Thank you.
You. Meredith Andreessen.
You. Good evening. My name is Meredith Andreessen. I am a current parent of an 8th grader at Oakwood, Blakely, that just spoke. And I am here to urge you not to change Oakwood to a K through 6 school. As the old adage goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, Oakwood ain't broke. As you know, Oakwood is one of only 3 schools in the entire district that is over enrollment. 50% or more of its students are there on variances, meaning they're choosing to go away from their home school or charter schools or other districts to go there. This means Oakwood is pulling in students and more money for our district. And as this board previously said, it's putting butts in seats. If you change Oakwood to a K through 6 model, there is a very high risk that you will create an enrollment problem at Oakwood that has never existed before. I've talked to many families at Oakwood. Some of them are here tonight. Can we get a raise of hands of families at Oakwood that are here? And many families have told me that if this model changes, they will pull their students out of this district and go to charters or go to other school districts. So they don't want their 7th and 8th graders on a high school campus. They don't want middle school sports to be cut and not have that opportunity at Oakwood. And they don't want to have to choose what high school their kid goes to when they enroll them in kindergarten. Because if they go to Oakwood and they choose differently later on, they have to move their kids 2 more times to get them through high school. But I understand that the district is facing problems, that there are financial issues that are going to require schools to change. But I have a couple ideas that might be able to save Oakwood to exist as it does now. One, you could close 2 different schools in Area 2 and move all the excess capacity of K through 8th graders to those schools. Choose the schools that have the lowest capacity, and there would be plenty of room at the remaining 3 schools for the rest of the students. Or, if you insist on going to a 7 through 12 model, allow Oakwood to keep its 7th and 8th grade classes, and those students can choose if they want to go to Cactus or they can stay at Oakwood and complete their education there. Or last, as a last resort, not my favorite, but is redistrict Oakwood so that they go to Centennial and they can maintain a K through 8 school. I know Cactus is under enrollment, but I don't think the answer is moving children to that school that aren't choosing to go there. It's not putting more butts in seats, it's just rearranging where those butts sit. So I just want you all to consider this and really think of Oakwood when you make your decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph Reyes.
Thank you so much, Governing Board, for hearing our comments. And I know that budget cuts are not fun. I've been in finance for 24, 25 years. I know what that means. I've had to do them myself, and it's not fun. I also want to say that I am a parent of this age range that we're talking about. If you come to our house, Jennifer is my wife, and we want to know what 7th through 12th grade looks like, well, that's our house. We're a blended family. We have blended these aged kids before, and we know what that looks like in a much smaller scale. But I want to talk a little bit about an experience that we had a couple of weeks ago where we came to Cactus, and we got to experience what this curriculum looked like. And I watched my daughter, she's one of the purple hair running around, who hugged Miss Huizinga, the choir teacher. And she came with a lot of excitement. And we walked and saw the theater teacher talk about how the curriculum was going to be, the band teacher excited. We talked about the choir teacher who's going to have karaoke lunches, shop, band, art. And so what we're missing from all of this is that they could have done the bare minimum. They could have taken what they had at all the middle schools and just said, well, we're going to take that and just put it, here to there, not butts in these seats to butts in those seats, but they didn't. They created something amazing. They created something that was going to be better. They're going to create something that our kids are going to love and be excited. And that's commendable. The administration at Cactus could have done the bare minimum, but they didn't amongst budget cuts. They did more with less. And that's a character of a school that I would want my kid to go to. And we have two already there. We've got a freshman who's going to be a future sophomore. We have a junior who's going to be a senior. And we have an e-campus kid as well. If there's any complaint that I could have, it would be the e-campus, where I think that should remain. And I've seen the benefits of e-campus. I've seen where it could take a kid who is struggling with the physical location of the school and has been able to thrive, and with still the benefits of the extracurricular activities of Cactus. So to take something more with less and to be impressed by that, we can't turn that down. You cannot turn that down. I also want to say that just thank you for taking the time for this.
Your time is up. Thank you. I just want to make a quick reminder, when we are hearing from public comment of the attendees here this evening, please refrain from making comments because otherwise we have to stop, and we don't want to let anybody not hear what we're talking about. But if it is disruptive, we will have to stop. So please, let's make sure everybody has their comments heard tonight. Gary, continue.
Thank you, President Rooks. Our next speaker will be Tim Starkle, but Mr. Starkle, before we proceed, I just want to let the audience know I am going to advance to the next round of names. We ask that you not interrupt Mr. Starkle's time, but you can be aware who is next to queue up on either side, and if you're close by and want to make your way there, you certainly could. Thank you. Mr. Starkle.
Good evening, Dr. Summers, President Rooks, members of the board, community here at Peoria. I am a former Cobra Raider. My daughter is a 7th grader at Oakwood right now. My wife went to Pioneer. We both went to Cactus. We got married after going to Cactus. So I say that because I care for all of our schools here. But at Oakwood, one of my roles is crossing duty in the morning and the afternoons. As mentioned, we have a large variance or open freedom of choice or where you can pick your school. We have a lot, I think over 50% of our students are from other neighborhoods. We had people from Surprise, Goodyear, Phoenix. I don't think moving Oakwood or really any of the junior high students to the high school level is the answer. I feel like it was mentioned before that it would hurt enrollment at Oakwood, that those parents have said that to me in the crosswalk in passing. I also coach sports at Oakwood, so I talk to thousands of people every single week. Some are for it, I'm not gonna lie, but a lot are against this model. Also, I heard some comments of you know, the age difference, the K through 8th is a pretty large gap in age versus the 7th through 12 graders. But I would argue the things that an 8th grader has access to is a lot less than what an 18-year-old or older kid would have, like a vehicle, adult products, stuff along those. So that would be a concern of mine with a 7th grade daughter who was 11 at the start of this year, who is now 12. I wouldn't be comfortable with her around adults. I know I would like to think that they would keep them safe and everything, but those are just some of my concerns. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And on the left side, we have Matt Fenimore.
Thank you. A lot to unpack tonight. First off, Blakely, you had a really good anchor at the beginning of your speech. Thank you for that one. I had it written down, a little bit of that written down as well. So for the group, I'd like to take a minute and kind of create a picture for everybody. I don't have enough art supplies to share with everyone, so you're gonna have to use your imagination. So I'd like you to picture a school full of high-performing students, a school with low turnover, a school that has increased its rankings, a school that parents, teachers, and students all want to be a part of, a school that miraculously requires no buses. That school would look a lot like Oakwood. Then that achievement should be celebrated. It seems that would be the goal of any school to achieve, but it's not. And now here we are at a crossroads, considering punishing a school's success. I do think that the board has a better explanation of why that success is being deprioritized in honor of structure, and that should be something due to the community. When I talk about the no buses thing for Oakwood, what that represents is that every student that gets there is because their parents chose to live there, their parents chose to get them there, their parents chose to get them home. They found a way to get to Oakwood. That is a unique thing. That is really hard to find. Either way, I'm not sure if the decision's already been made. If it does end up that the Cactus High School is combined to be a junior high, given that Cactus High School's mascot is the Cobras, could the junior high be the Snakelets?
Thank you. And over on the right side, we have Kayla.
Hello, my name's Kayla. I have 2 children that go to Pioneer. I love the school. I have a daughter.
Can you pause her time real quick?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Take your time. All right.
I have a daughter that gets speech services, and everybody at the school is great. She has made such an improvement with her speech, and just the thought of putting her into foothills with all these other students just kind of makes me feel like she's gonna, shy away from the progress she's made. She's very shy, and I just feel like the people out there, so it's just very emotional to me. I have an older daughter who is in 6th grade, and I don't want her going to school with adult children. Just older children. There's peer pressure. I was 14 once. I know how things are. Like if people want things to happen, they're gonna make them happen. I can tell you that if the school closes, I'm actively searching for a school district out of boundaries. I know she has an IEP, so we're forced to go to Foothills. If that comes to that, I will be moving out of the district or going to a charter school. I just feel like she's gonna fall through the cracks. And thank you for listening to my concerns.
Thank you. And over on the left, we have Candy Fowler.
Good evening. I'm totally against having the junior high and the high school kids together. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, things are going to happen. And I don't see any reason to put the temptation in front of everybody. The schools that you're wanting to combine, already at Pioneer, we have traffic, quite a bit of traffic. And I can't imagine any more traffic being put onto the other school either. And what happens when the kids drive to school at Cactus and you have young children there? I just don't see it. I don't think there's a fit there. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Valerie.
My name is Valerie. I am a mother of 3 kids. 2 are school age and attending Pioneer. We walk together to and from school every day. My 7-year-old cries every time we talk about the potential of our school closing. He also has an IEP for speech and is in speech with our friend Layla and has made huge improvements for the 3 years we have been taking him there. We love this school, teachers, administrators, and attend all of the family nights. My oldest is in 5th grade. If you close Pioneer, we will not be sending him to a 7th through 12th grade school. We will absolutely be sending him to a middle school or K-8 outside of the district. I know many other families here feel the same way. Please do not close our school.
Thank you. Next we have Carrie Blankenship.
Miss Carrie Blankenship, and I'm a parent at Oakwood Elementary. I have the deepest sympathy for all of these schools that are impacted with low enrollment. However, as you have heard, Oakwood is one of the schools included in this proposal that the district has clearly stated does not have low enrollment. Oakwood serves over 900 students, with 57% of those students on variants that are not necessarily zoned to feed into Cactus for high school grades 9 through 12. Despite having no significant overcrowding and incredibly strong culture, stable K-8 model, our school is being asked to give this up to stabilize the district. Across the district, there are 33 elementary schools, and only 5 are being asked to shoulder this burden. Of those that are asked to shoulder this burden, they will lose access to a K-8 structure. And of those 5, 4 are actually Title I schools. For those of you who don't know, Title I schools receive federal funding to ensure disadvantaged children are given supplementary instruction and care. While likely not intended, the overfocus on facilities has overlooked a pattern. Largely, Title I students with the greatest disadvantages are being asked to shoulder capacity concerns and disruption. Students at these schools are being asked to give up something other students will continue to have: a consistent, developmentally appropriate K-8 experience without disruption. Instead, they will be moved into a 7th through 12th high school model. It's important to remember these same students already endured the disruption of COVID and remote learning during some of the most formative years of their lives. Just as they've regained stability, we are asking them to transition again into a completely different environment. I have significant concerns that this proposal fosters disparate treatment. I will ask the board to consider why a small number of schools who are serving higher need children are being asked to absorb the change while others remain untouched. Equity is not about impacting the fewest students. Equity is about ensuring all students have access to the same opportunities. If this is truly the best educational model, it should be applied consistently across the district. If not, it should not be applied selectively. I would caution that this proposal sends a very clear message that some students' stability is more expendable than others. I urge you to pause, reconsider, and choose a path that treats every student in this district with equal weight, equal value, and equal access. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Lori Blue.
Good evening, board. My name is Lori Blue. I'm the president of the Booster Club that handles the performing arts here at Cactus High School. I have 2 boys, one who has graduated and came from Canyon to Cactus, and is now attending college at the top of his class. And I have another son who just started here at Cactus in 9th grade. My second son is special needs. He has a 504 plan. He has challenges. I have seen my son, who we didn't know if he was going to make it through high school, start here with Christy Hammer and her staff, and he's number 4 in his class. He hasn't had a grade under 95%. So those of you that keep saying that you're taking things away from children, what they are going to get at a 7 through 12 at Cactus specifically is going to move them leaps and bounds. I understand everybody's concern. I am concerned too. I was very, very opposed to these changes when I first started hearing about them. However, people have said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Our district is broken, plain and simple. Our district is broken. That means everyone has to sacrifice. Everyone. If you think that our Cactus High School students aren't sacrificing something by having 7th and 8th graders here, you're wrong. My son loves jazz band. Guess what's going to get cut? So that our band director can make sure that he has time to teach the 7th and 8th grade. There are things that are happening that are affecting everybody. We all just need to be aware that it affects everybody, be sympathetic, listen, and do what we can to make it easier. Everybody has complained tonight about these situations, but I haven't heard a single person come up with a new idea. So if you want things to change, go out and vote, because only 30% of our voting district went and voted. And that's why we are in this situation. Things have to change, and we all just have to grin and bear it. And by fighting these changes, we're teaching our children that life sucks. Yes, we are teaching our children life sucks, and it's not fair. But that's a lifelong challenge, because if you think every job they get going forward is going to be a cloud of rainbows, it's not. And if you think charter schools are any better, most of them are 7 through 12. So get ready.
Thank you. Next, we have Robert New.
Hi, I got 2 kids that go to Pioneer. It's been a fantastic school. Just a few questions on safety for the kids that have to walk from Pioneer neighborhood over to Foothills. Is there going to be a crossing guard on Greenway? That's the biggest concern. Other than that, is why are we closing A-rated schools for C-rated schools when education is so bad here in Arizona as is? And then why are we keeping Canyon open? I understand the Sunflower Center, but that school is in a neighborhood of, half acre, full acre houses, and there's a lot less kids and a lot less homes over there, where it's also in a business district. So if the school does need to sell a school, I mean, it's kind of ideal for another business to pick that up. Yeah, I just don't know where I'm going with this. There's talk about 7th and 8th grade losing sports. Where is that going to trickle down to? What's going to be next? I know this is a saving grace for Cactus, supposedly, but what's the chances of Cactus still closing and we still got to remove our kids and send them somewhere else again? I don't know. It seems like you guys are kind of in the dark on it, because talking to Foothills when we toured them, they don't know anything. Talking to Pioneer, they don't really know anything. I don't know. Parents were in the dark too. We don't know exactly what's the whole plan is, and it kind of stinks. Because, if we all had, something like this is what's going to happen, it'd be a little bit more understandable. But it's all a big gray area. And fortunately, gray area can be interpreted however that person wants it to be. kind of stinks. I wish I could follow the superintendent to Colorado for a little bit better weather, but unfortunately, that doesn't look the best either because it's like you're abandoning a sinking ship in a way. But I guess I really don't have anything else to say. Hopefully everything works out, but thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Riley Darling.
Hello, I'm Riley Darling, and I'm currently an 8th grader at Oakwood Elementary School. Next year, I'm going to Cactus, and after hearing what's planned for next year, I was a little shocked. I do understand that you guys have most likely made your decision, but I feel that you should take a few things into consideration. Since I'm going into my freshman year, this doesn't affect me as much as it will affect those in elementary schools. I have overheard 7th graders talking, and one conversation was if they had the choice to go to Cactus for 8th grade or staying at Oakwood for 8th grade. Every one of them said they would want to stay at Oakwood. My little sister is in 4th grade. She's scared to lose some of her friends because they want to be homeschooled or change schools since their plan was to stay at Oakwood until 8th grade. Also, what about the 7th and 8th graders? Speaking as one of them, we're scared to grow up. Going to high school early can be nerve-wracking and might cause anxiety for some of these kids. Remember, these are 11 and 12-year-olds going into high schools with 18 and 19-year-olds. What about bullying? You say they'll be separate, but they won't stay separate. We wonder, it's just what we do. Going to a K-8 school helped me as a kindergartner. 4th graders would come in and help me as an individual student in kindergarten learn the curriculum. And TAs also can help with this at times. To be a TA, though, you have to be in 7th and 8th grade. Also, just seeing some of the kindergartners as a 7th and 8th grader makes your day. A 7th grade girl from my school said, "I love going to a K-8 school," after a kindergartner gave her a high five. Oakwood is a big, amazing school, and I feel if this does end up going through, we should leave Oakwood alone. We're big enough to hold our own, and the teachers and the kids don't deserve to be lumped in with low enrollment schools. I just hope that you can look at this from the eyes of the people it affects the most before making a final decision. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Adriana Siwa.
Hi, good evening. My name is Adriana Silva. I relocated my family to Arizona 3 years ago in search of better educational opportunities for my children. When doing my research, Peoria Unified continuously stood out. Our experience here has been wonderful and impactful both academically and athletically, and we truly appreciate the dedication that goes into supporting our children's growth. I would like to express some concerns in regards to the recent decisions and the timing of this forum. It feels as though many decisions have already been made, and having an opportunity for community input earlier in the process before walkthroughs and class selections would have helped families feel more heard and included. I'm hoping to gain clarity on a few important things. Why was there not consideration given to open a middle school for 7th and 8th graders? To protect our children's safety. The safety should be our main goal. Remember, we send our kids to school each day, entrusting them in your hands. Having preteens around high school age students and young adults is not beneficial in so many ways, as you've heard. Is there data available to us parents to see where this model has been successful? If so, can it please be sent out? What will happen to school buildings that are being closed? I know it's been mentioned, there's several plans. Why not put a middle school there in one of them, being that there will be costs there anyway? How will these changes impact programs moving forward? What will the ratios at the elementary schools look like for next year, being that more kids are going to be added to Canyon? While I'm not completely opposed to the change, again, safety should be our main concern. And as mentioned, it feels like the decision has already been made. If this moves forward, I want to strongly emphasize the importance of athletics. Please do not remove sports from these kids. My son received Athlete of the Year last year at Canyon. That was impactful for him, and that's going to be something he remembers for the rest of his life. Let's see. Sports play a critical role in the development academically, socially, and emotionally and physically. They help build discipline, confidence, teamwork, and sense of belonging in so many ways. Thank you for your time and consideration. Please make the right decision and vote as if these children, if these were your own children.
Thank you. Next, we have Veronica Darling, but you'll notice we have advanced the slide. So if you see your name on the screen and you can get up without interrupting Ms. Darling, you are welcome to do so. Thank you. Ms. Darling.
Good evening. My name is Veronica Darling. I have 2 children currently at Oakwood. My 8th grader, you heard from Riley, and a 4th grader. I feel like we've been told as parents and the general public that this decision has not been made. But we keep hearing about reconstruction happening at Cactus. We see that we're having open houses to show future 7th and 8th graders what they can expect by coming here. Even some real estate websites are reflecting proposed boundary changes. So with all of this being said, I hope that this meeting isn't just a formality, that we are truly here for you to hear our feedback and to uphold your responsibilities to reflect the needs of our community. While I understand school closures are inevitable, I strongly urge you to consider the ramifications of placing 11 and 12-year-olds with 17 and 18-year-olds. Maybe let's consider repurposing a closed school to a middle school, like we just heard. Give an option to other students to be bused to other schools that have low enrollment issues. At the end of the day, I'm sure decisions will be made, but at a very minimum, I urge you to redraw Oakwood's boundaries to make them a centennial school, to keep them K through 8. Giving these kids the option to still attend Cactus, to not affect enrollment, but more importantly, not punishing a school that is thriving by taking their junior high school students away. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have David Bob.
Good evening, members of the governing board, district leaders, educators, and members of our community. My name is David, and I'm here tonight because decisions like these don't just affect buildings, they affect lives. I grew up understanding that a public school was more than a place you went to from age 3. It was where you learned who you were allowed to become. It was where adults outside your family noticed when you were struggling, when you were thriving, or when you just needed consistency. We keep hearing the phrase declining enrollment, and I understand what that means financially and statistically. But it isn't numbers that walk into classrooms. Children do. Members of their families do. Teachers do. Now, when a school closes, children are asked to absorb the consequences of adults' decisions. We ask children to leave their familiar hallways when a school closes, their trusted teachers, and friendships that anchored them during some of the most formative years of their lives. Families, many already stretched to the edge, are then asked to absorb longer commutes, disrupted routines, and uncertainty about where their children belong. And while that burden doesn't show up neatly in a budget report, I have my own. It is real, and it is felt every day. A school is often the most stable institution in a child's life. For me, Peoria Unified was my sanctuary. But once that stability is taken away, it is not easily replaceable. So I urge this board to remember that public education is not a spreadsheet problem. Public education is a moral responsibility. Budget pressures are real. Again, I have my own. I'm sure we all do as well. Don't get me wrong, but so is the cost of displacing communities. This signals to families that their neighborhood schools are expendable. Please take the time to explore alternatives. please listen deeply to the families who will live with this long after tonight. We've heard a good number of voices already. And please remember that the measure of a district is not just how it balances its budget, but how it protects its most vulnerable. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next, we have George Colebrook.
Good evening, President Rooks, members of the board, Dr. Summers. You guys are challenged with a huge task ahead of you. And I don't envy where you're at right now. You've heard a lot from individuals in support of Cactus, in support of Oakwood, Pioneer. One of the things that I want to mention, just as a question with the presentation earlier, there was a spot that was talking about designated areas for the junior high kids. One of the concerns that I have, what happens before and after school? Locations, where are the kids going to be separated? Also buses, how would buses operate with the whole campus? Now, my major topic tonight is about transparency for parents. On January 5th, I represent Peoria Flex Academy. I am a teacher there. In the proposal today, it says that Peoria Flex Academy could be repurposed to one of these other schools. However, on the slide, it doesn't say that. It just gives our mission statement of what Peoria Flex Academy is and what the Source Center is. It doesn't mention anything about repurposing. And if you actually look at the website from the district provided, it doesn't say that unless you click on the frequently asked questions. So tonight we've heard from Oakwood parents, Pioneer parents, Cactus parents, but the one thing we did not hear about is the potential for Peoria Flex Academy to be moving off of Old Main campus and an opportunity for our parents and our students to be heard, because there's nothing on the district website. Even though we're not in Area 2, as a school, we will be impacted. And what happens, according to looking at the executive session last night, the agenda, there's conversation about the potential of land sales, leasing. What happens to Peoria Flex Academy if we are slated to move and the land gets sold? We're looking at the long term. On the website, it mentions the Succeed program, the Arise program, the Works program, which are programs. We are a school impacted, and there's no communication and transparency for our parents, our students, to be able to voice their opinions and their thoughts as well. So PFA may not be in Area 2, but we will be impacted and should be represented adequately by the district in the future of our school, so our parents can have their input be heard as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Holly Faluka.
I'm here today actually more for the fact of finding out, how did we get here? Why are we here? I wonder why we don't do more to support our public education. I also think that the majority of people don't understand that charter schools do get public funding. So take, for instance, Legacy Traditional over there on the corner, 67th. They got more funding per pupil last year than Pioneer Elementary did. They got over $11,000 of taxpayer money. The majority of the people that I've spoken to don't believe that taxpayer money goes into charter schools, but it does. All that money will follow every single dollar except for our property taxes. That's the only difference, or bond money. So I think a lot of people are under this idea that the public does not fund charter schools. So we're promoting charter schools by closing our schools, but not letting people know that your money is still going to go to them. And if you look, I did research, unfortunately I forgot my binder, where a lot of the charter schools are actually, their AASA numbers are going down. Why is that? Well, they keep growing, taking in more children, and their numbers are going to go down as well. So I want to know why, as the board, and where's my council members? I don't know, is one here? If not, they should be ashamed because this is an issue for everyone. But why are we not doing more to promote our schools and let people know, hey, you don't want to send your kids to the charter school because guess what? You're thinking you're not paying, but all that money is now going to the charter school. I had children in private school, charter school, and public school. And I'll tell you, the public school has been the best. They have excellent staff, support systems. I have a child who has special education. They can't beat it in charter schools, or maybe some private, but that's the way it is. But people are misled to think that this is going to change. So we need to figure out how you, the board, and us as residents and taxpayers and my city council can do a campaign or something to have people understand your tax dollars are still going to the charter school, but they're just, they're privately owned. So who knows where some of that money goes? They got $11,000 per student last year. Pioneer got less than $9,000. Why is that? Can anyone answer that for me? That's right. When my child went to a charter school, it started with 25 kids. They weren't going to grow it. Well, guess what? 38 kids in the class by the time he left. You know why? More butts in the seat, more money for them.
Thank you.
We're
Your time
closing
is
our
up.
schools.
Thank you.
to
Your
promote
time is up. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Threadgill.
I'd just like to start by acknowledging all of the educators. I'm a proud Pioneer parent. I'd like to acknowledge the Pioneer team in here and all you educators for all your time that you pour into our children. I cut my teeth in education as a professional. I worked in education and I stopped working in education when we had that financial crisis that happened some time back, and they said, we're not giving you guys any more raises. At that time, I was forced to leave education and get into behavioral health. I've been a public servant my entire working career. I'm 39 years old and I have worked with children for more than 20 years. I've seen it as an educator in classrooms and I've seen it as a clinical therapist. And this is not an attack on Cactus High School at all. I'm very excited for my child sitting back there to come to Cactus when she is a freshman in high school. There are significant differences between 11 and 12-year-olds and 18 and 19-year-olds. That's going to be a problem. I saw the diagram that you guys put up there and I saw the highlighted, looked like a wing of this very campus. Went to high school on a campus that looked just like this campus. I love that we have a nice designated area for our children, but they're still just 50 feet away from 18 and 19-year-olds. Other parents brought up concerns about to and from school, about buses, about students who drive. How is that going to impact our children's educational experience? I really urge you guys to consider the ripple effects of these decisions that you make, because there will be ripple effects. There's going to be challenges, obviously, that arise one way or the other, but the bottom line is, and I don't know how it is in anybody else's home, but in my home, I'm trying to stop my kid from trying to grow up too quickly. She's 12 going on 20. Okay, she's impressionable because she's 12 years old. I don't need my 11 and 12-year-olds running around with a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds that think they got it all figured out. I used to be 18 or 19 years old, and I thought I had it figured out too, and I didn't know a damn thing, pardon my language. Okay, but we are going to have issues that present themselves. I do encourage you guys to do more research. I do encourage you guys to really consider not just the dollars and cents, but psychologically how this can impact our children. Okay, these are all very important things to consider. It does kind of feel like a song and dance. It does kind of feel like the decisions have been made, but I would encourage you guys to put time, resources, and your efforts into finding out what's going on at Oakwood. Why are they having 57% or 47% or whatever else of kids outside of the district trying to go to that school? What other programs in other school districts are being overutilized, and why are we not dumping that money into Peoria Unified School District to encourage other people to bring their children to Peoria, because we offer this program, we offer this, and we offer that. I appreciate you educators so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Sherry Sinclair.
Hi, y'all, right? So we lost the vote, right? We lost a lot of funding. I come from a very different environment called the South Heart of Maryvale. My parents, not my parents, because we were too poor. So I had my small hood church provide the funding. So I went to a private school. So I didn't go to the schools that were in my area because we didn't have options back then. I'm 44. So it's a whole different environment I came from. And here we are. My mom and my dad, they are like, OMG, we have arrived on 75th Avenue in Sweetwater. And there, before you know it, my little brother's going to Oakwood. OMG, from kindergarten until right? And then took it all the way to Cactus, loved his life, right? He's not looking for junior high to be high school days. That wasn't even an option back then. But right now, I'm talking about me in the current. I have twin 9-year-olds. I was in myself, Glendale, all right? I had to get to Peoria. I had to get up to Peoria District. I have a son who is nonverbal, level 3 autism, and his twin sister, high functioning. Miss Gillum, very high functioning. Thanks to Miss Gillum, we're at Kachina. Yep, they're going to close us down. Kindergarten through now, we're going on 4th grade. Miss Gillum right there, that was Nevaeh's teacher. Brought her out of the dark. What happens to Miss Gillum is what I want to know. What happens to Miss Newman, her tutor, her resource club tutor that has been with her since literally day 1 up and going to 4th grade? And where is she going to go? Canyon? I don't know where Canyon's at. Is Miss Gillum going to be there? Is Miss Newman going to be there? Who's going to be there? We don't have a whole lot of options, it looks like, because we lost the vote on funding. We wouldn't even be here if we hadn't lost the money on the vote. We all voted up in here. We all voted for more, duh. Obviously. Now I'm speaking out for something that actually means something to my family. And I eventually would like to get to Cactus. They're going to 4th grade. I don't want to go to Canyon. I don't want her to get shuffled somewhere else and there's 30 kids. I can't do that. She has literally been in a consistent 18, 19. How awesome is that, guys? Like, you pay for that, right? But you got to Peoria District to get 18, 19 school. Like, literally, that's it. Her classmates, 18. Oh, I know, time up,
Time
right?
up.
Time up.
Thank you. Next, we have Kawang Lam.
Hello, President Brooks and all the board members. I'm here. I'm asking you to explore all options before you make your decisions about these proposals. Like the gentleman before me, obviously, if you look at all the schools that put on that board, why would Oakwood have to be included? That actually the dynamic, the cultures, everything that make up of Oakwood, and now we have to make a change to things that are working.
Can you pause the time, please? I apologize, sir. Azure, can you give him a few more seconds back, please? Actually, can you start his comment over? Because I feel like he was interrupted and I just want to make sure. Okay, so you have 3 minutes to, I apologize again.
So I want to start over. I said it, like the gentleman before me, if you look at all the options and all the school that was impacted, why would Oakwood have to be the school that included that actually have been working for so many years have to actually suffer with this decision? And like the gentleman said before me, certainly the safety of our kids, the junior high and high school should not be included altogether. You're talking about 13 years old and an 18 years old, there's certainly a big age gap. So please explore all your options before you make the decision that would impact the kids and obviously the future of our kids.
Thank you. Next, we have Davida Solter.
President Rooks, members of the board, Dr. Summers, Ms. Airy. My name is Davida Solter, and I'm here on a little different perspective than everybody else. I am a homeowner in the Kachina neighborhood, and I also served 31 years in this school district as an educator. After retiring from here, went on to Glendale Elementary School District, where I just retired after another 13 years. So 44 years in education, and have lived through this now in 2 different districts. I don't envy you having to make this decision. And I recall as an administrator, our then superintendent, Dr. Jack Erb, came in telling us that we were going to have to close a school. And at that time, it was Desert Palms. That decision was never made. We then went on. This is 25 years ago. This process has been going on. What I don't understand is why 2 schools have to be closed in the Cactus neighborhood, because that affects me as a homeowner. My son is a proud graduate of Cactus High School, class of 2009. One of his favorite teachers is still here in the audience, and he'll be, those of you who, your kids will come to Cactus High School, he'll be your auto or home buildings teacher, and your kids will love him, as well as many of the other teachers here. However, these 2 schools that are being planned for closure are within a half a mile of my home. And that, my concern is, nobody has talked about, it's kind of been on the stage there as what might happen with the schools, but nobody's told us in the neighborhood what will happen with those schools. And as you know, if buildings sit empty, that will not be a good situation for any of us. So I do have great concerns about that. I also am one of the few people in Peoria who opened and closed a school. And Mrs. Rooks, I heard you say one time that you were a student at the freshman campus at Sunrise Mountain High School. I was the assistant principal in charge of that campus. And that is an emotional thing when you have to close a school. So I understand what all of these parents are going through. But the other people that are going through this are the staff members, and they're not doing well right now. They need some decisions, just like all these parents and students need decisions. And I hope that you will take into consideration what needs to happen for them, along with the many people who attended Kachina and Pioneer Elementary Schools, because part of their memories and their lives are coming to a close. And we need to have some type of celebration for those schools, if in fact that's what you choose to do.
Thank you for your public comment.
Thank you. Next, we have Jeanette Kelly.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here. Just my background real quick. I graduated from Cactus High School, class of 95. I went to Foothills. I am currently in education and have been an educator for 26 years. Most of that time has been in a middle school environment. I've taught both 7th and 8th grade, and I'm currently the dean. So tonight, I just really urge you to hear what the parents are saying. Hear their concerns. They are very valid. 7th and 8th graders, while I personally do not agree with the K-8 model, I sent my kids to junior highs. They are not young adults. They are not high schoolers. They need to be guided. They still need their hands held. They still need a lot of love and care. And this is coming from someone who's been doing it for 26 years. So I just really urge you to really listen to what the bottom line is. What are the parents, what are they really concerned about? And if it is to put the decision is made to put students, 7th and 8th graders, on Cactus High School's campus, it is very important that the admin realizes they're not just young freshmen, right? They are still young kids and they need to be treated as such. And they have different needs, both emotionally and socially, emotionally, and mentally, and even just academically. You can't teach them the same way you're going to teach a freshman or a sophomore, or a junior, or a senior. And so the counselors on this campus and the admin on this campus, they're really going to have to take that into consideration when you bring those kids onto this campus. And so I just really urge you to really listen, open up your ears, open up your hearts, and hear what these parents have to say tonight. Thank you.
Next, we have Aaron Starkle, but we have advanced to the next list. So if you see your name, one more, two more, there we are. There's the next list. If you see your name and you can get up without interrupting our speaker, you are welcome to do so. Thank you. Ms. Starkle.
Hello, my name is Erin Starkle, and I am one of those PUSD legacy family moms. I'm a proud Pioneer Patriot and a Cactus Cobra alumni. I am the wife and mom to outstanding Oakwood Raiders. I understand that school closures have to happen and readjustments need to be made. I think creating K-6 schools will result in lower enrollment in these feeder schools and at Cactus High School. I know multiple parents that have chosen to live within the Peoria School District boundaries or variants to our schools because of our K-8 model. Oakwood, a school that has shown huge success in enrollment despite the changing and aging community, should not be modified to a pre-K through 6. This is Oakwood, and Oakwood has pride, is the real deal. Please keep Oakwood K-8. I do not agree with housing junior high at Cactus High School. I do not think it is the solution to our vacancy issues. Let's keep our young adults young a little longer. On a K-8 campus, our 11 to 14-year-olds get to be a positive example to the younger students. They get to have recess and still be kids. Let's find another way to grow the Cactus High School population. I would suggest investing into the Cactus Arts program due to our close proximity to Foothills Fine Arts Academy and having one of the largest auditoriums in the valley. We could invest in swim and dive and create a competitive team that people would want to come to Cactus to be a part of, since competitive dive doesn't have much of a footprint in the West Valley. There are so many alternatives to getting butts in seats than altering our education model, one that we know works well. Thank you.
I want to pause for just a brief moment and ask if there was anyone else that was wanting to speak this evening and had not turned in a slip, that you just step over to the entrance and we have a staff member that will meet you there and be able to assist you with completing a slip this evening. So I did want to make that announcement before we proceed. We'll start over here with Noah Curry.
Hello. I do want to start by saying I am against the closure, but I also am not naive, and I know how the world works. And when there's this much planning already out there, we kind of know what's going on. But I'm a lifelong member of the PUSD. I graduated from Pioneer Elementary School, graduated from Cactus, year 2000. We now have 2 kids in the district, one at Pioneer, one's a junior in Cactus, and my wife's a teacher for Pioneer and has been for 21 years. While I understand the district must navigate the logistical challenges of enrollment and facility overhead, the human element of these decisions requires equal consideration. Specifically, I am concerned about the current plan for staffing the new 7th and 8th grade positions at Cactus High School. Pioneer Elementary is currently an A-rated school, a distinction earned not by building itself, but by the exceptional administration and teachers who have built a premier learning environment. These educators have made Pioneer a sought-after destination for families through their years of service, specialized certifications, and award-winning commitment to our students. I believe the teachers being displaced through no fault of their own deserve priority interviewing, right of first refusal, or a priority window for new positions created by restructuring. Recognition of excellence. These teachers have proven they can maintain A-level standards. That expertise should be prioritized at Cactus High School to ensure the new 7th through 12th grade model succeeds. Retention focus. Ensuring our best talent isn't lost to neighboring districts or private schools due to the uncertainty of general interview pool. These teachers are the backbone of our district's success. Asking them to compete on a level playing field for their livelihood after their home has been closed creates unnecessary stress for the very people we should be fighting to keep. I urge the board to implement a priority placement policy that honors the excellence of the Pioneer staff and ensures they continue to serve PUSD students. I also, since I have some time, my wife's probably rolling her eyes right now. I went to the Cactus night, and just a couple things that I kind of was thinking about is I know that there's a section for the kids, but when they go to their extracurriculars, whether it's art, shop, whatever, they're walking the same path as the high schoolers. And I did not hear anything about them being guided to those classrooms. They just are supposed to know where to go. And secondly, if you thought about starting 7th and 8th grade an hour later, then there would be less traffic. There'd be a lot more maintained stability for the kids and for the campus itself. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Next, we have Anna Blakesley.
Thank you for offering this opportunity to all of us to come to you. I'm probably going to get mugged on the way out the door, but I did vote, and I voted no, and I'm standing here to tell you why I voted no, so it won't happen a second time. I voted yes in 2012, and in 2012 we had something called deferred maintenance that needed to be caught up. We said yes, and now we're hearing that maintenance is again deferred. As a homeowner and someone who's been in business for many years in the Valley, I know deferring your maintenance is not the best choice of things to do. So from a financial perspective, I would have liked to have seen every year what's been deferred and why, and what happened with the budget. Many of you are involved directly with children inside some of the schools that are ready to be considered for closure. And I absolutely understand the concerns that you have. But we just heard that this was a problem. I'm thinking that probably 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, we've had many years to start to understand what was happening here. And I feel very disregarded as a property owner and one of the thousands of people paying to support the Peoria School District. So with that, I'm just going to ask that going forward, you start being more opaque, more open to the public as to what's happening with your budget. I even wonder if there is a long-term budget. Do you put in there something to say we're going to have escalating prices due to inflation? That we are going to have escalating revenue due to the fact that you get a percentage of property values. So there's a lot of things that I'm just not seeing from a quantitative perspective coming from the Peoria School District. And I would really like to see that. And until I see that, I can't say yes. I think Peoria does a great job with the educating of the children. But I'm going to say, although I didn't mean to speak on this, I am going to say I agree with all of the parents who were objecting to putting adolescent, prepubescent children into a high school. I've unfortunately, as a retired person now, been watching the Instagram trials with Zuckerberg and the parents coming out of those rooms and the issues that they're having with the social dynamics that are currently in high school. And I can tell you there isn't an 7th or 8th grader who's properly equipped to handle that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have Rita Abril.
Hi, my name is Rita Abril. I am a Oakwood graduate and a Cactus graduate. These schools not only shaped who I am today as a parent, but they shaped who I am as a human being in general. There's more to the schools than just it being a building. It's a whole community. As you heard from other Oakwood families, we are Oakwood. We have pride. We love where we are. We love who we are. And for you guys to kind of just take that away from us doesn't make sense, especially because, as you've heard multiple times, we have the numbers. We have numbers. We are strong. I now have children. I have 2 third graders, a first grader, and hopefully one day a younger Oakwood Raider. If this move happens, my kids will be leaving the district. I do not support this at all. I do not want my young daughters to ever have to deal with anything that could possibly happen on a campus with older people. Because at this point, they're not children. When they turn 18, they are adults. And honestly, leaving Oakwood would break my heart. The teachers there are amazing. Teachers that taught me are still there. They love me, they love my family. I love being there. I'm part of the PTSO. I jump in every field trip I can. I do anything and everything for that school. I drive to that school. I take 15 minutes every day to take my kids to school. I take 15 minutes every day to pick them up from that school. I don't make the drive because my friends are there. I make the drive because Oakwood matters. Oakwood loves and cares for my kids. And that's literally all anyone could ever say about Oakwood. I'm not sure how the other schools feel, but I can tell you right now, as a parent, as a former student, Oakwood's where it's at. A high school campus is no place for middle school students. 7th and 8th graders are still kids. They need playgrounds. They need field days. They need space to grow and have their own pace, at their own pace. They need an environment to build and development. Sorry, guys. I did not practice. Oakwood, like I said, Oakwood is a family. The students respect the teachers and the incredible staff there. There is accountability, connection, and community. There is a place where kids know that they are supported and cared for. I understand that this decision does not come lightly to you guys. I respect that, and I appreciate that as a parent. But also as a parent, as an alumni, and as someone who deeply values this district, I do not support the move, and I urge you, please, keep Oakwood where it's at.
Thank you. I'm going to check with our team member. I believe our next 2 speakers on this side have withdrawn their slips. Okay. So I believe next would be Jesse Gabris. Gabris, I apologize.
Hello, I'm a parent of a 7th grader at Foothills Elementary School. And my husband and I have talked long and hard about all this, and we're both very against this collision of 7th and 8th graders going to a high school. No offense, I feel like all y'all are really naive to think that junior high and high school students will not be collaborating with each other. There are young girls, 12, 13, 14, who, in the cleanest way I could say, develop a little bit early. And there are going to be teenage boys that are going to notice. And I, for one, would not want a young teenage girl at 12 or 13 being flirted or talked to by a 17-year-old boy. Absolutely not. And I urge all you parents of young girls to think about that, to think about your child who looks like they could pass as a sophomore to be talked to by high school boys, 18, 17, 16 years old, who can drive and pick them up. I, for one, am not for that. I also think you guys are naive to think that peer pressure wouldn't happen. Peer pressure is a big thing that happens with not just high school students, but junior high kids. And junior high kids are going to be very much susceptible to it because they're going to want to fit in more with high school students. Sorry, this is something that's been really grinding my gears for the last few weeks. Have you guys even talked to the high school students to see whether or not they're okay with sharing a school with a bunch of young adolescents? I remember when I was ready to start high school, and I was so excited to be leaving the young elementary school students. That was such a freeing feeling. Now these high school students are going to have to be forced to share a school with young adolescents who don't have that same maturity as they do. I don't think you guys have really thought as to what's going to happen with these kids. And I also don't think you thought, as a lot of people have brought up, about what's going to happen to the teachers of all these schools that are going to close. Where are they going to go? Are you going to make room for them? Because that's really not fair to them who have sacrificed the time and money to go to school to get the teaching degree to be able to teach kids. And it's like you're just going to be throwing them away. If you guys are really struggling on figuring out what to do, there's two options you can do. You can figure out, maybe we could put junior high kids in a separate building away from high school students and elementary school students to give them the chance to be young adolescents. And if that's not something you want to consider, maybe you should consider why your enrollment is so low. Ask parents of people who are taking their kids out of school, why have you decided to take your kid out of our district and put him in a charter school or a private school? And listen to what they have to say instead of just closing schools. What also really is frustrating to me is that we have found out from a person that worked at Foothills that this is already a done deal and that you guys are just hearing what we have to say, but that this is already going to happen. So I'm very disappointed in you guys that this is happening. Thank you.
Next, we have Maria Estrada.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have anything written down. I am a parent of a child at Oakwood. My two older children went to Oakwood, then transitioned over to Centennial. Oakwood is a home. All the staff, the teachers. It's a great environment for any student to attend this school. And I guess that's why they're just thriving. That's why they're over-enrolled. And I don't think that Oakwood should be affected by your changes. I understand the change has to happen. There's under-enrollment at the other schools. I completely understand that. But I don't think Oakwood should be affected by that. But I also, if it does get affected by it, I don't agree with 7th and 8th graders coming to Cactus High School. When we did come the other day, when you guys had an open house for us, I walked through, seeing what was offered. Yes, it seems like it's exciting. You're going to have the same opportunities as a high schooler, having these awesome electives. And then you're like, hey, this is our wing. This is where the 7th and 8th graders are going to be. But when you take a real good look at it, well, there's the guidance office. The guidance office is for the entire 7th through 12th grade. How are you going to prevent the freshmen through seniors from interacting from the 7th and 8th graders? Oh, then you have all these awesome electives. Well, those kids are going to have to intermingle because I didn't see a different alternative schedule for them than that the high school kids would have to go through, where they would be going to these classes and have to intermingle to get to their photography class or ceramics. So I don't see how you would protect the 7th and 8th graders from not intermingling with the high school kids. Then another disappointing thing to see was that, okay, if you're going to Oakwood, you're going to have to get bused up to Cactus. Well, do you guys all know that your 7th and 8th grader is going to have to sit on the bus up at the front, and then all the high school kids are going to be in the back? Well, there's only probably going to be the one bus driver, right? Well, how are you going to prevent from this possible bullying, possible interaction, inappropriate action that might happen on the bus route? You know, there's all these possible things that could happen. I think as a parent, I don't think this is a good decision. Yes, I understand there's budgets, but in the end, I don't think it's a wise choice. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next, we have Jackie Moore.
Give me a second. Good evening, board. Thank you for this opportunity. I come with two perspectives.
One, as a preschool parent at Foothills Elementary. When this was brought up, I actually researched each of these schools to see, would more preschool children actually be coming to this campus to benefit my child, who currently is in a self-contained classroom that is supposed to be mixed population because of a lack of enrollment. And up until 2 weeks ago, I would have said, it's not going to make a difference for her, until we received notice that they were also restructuring the preschool program, which is not part of this presentation, and moving them to Canyon Elementary to consolidate staff, a move that will actually probably hurt that preschool program even more. Now, I won't lie, the day I received that email was the day I also signed her up for the open enrollment application for Deer Valley, because already developmentally, she's suffering being in a classroom without peer modeling. Now, that's my side as a parent. My other side before I was a parent was I was a middle school science teacher. I saw the anxiety from parents who had prepared for years for their children to go to high school. And I tried to put myself into their shoes of this plan for 7th through 12th grade. I was also a teacher in Cartwright when they made the decision to give parents the choice to keep their 6th graders in the elementary school. I was a 5th grade teacher at the time. And overwhelmingly, the parents chose to keep the children there. Data shows that parents actually prefer the K-8 model for their children to be in that consistent environment, especially in formative times. Now, as a science teacher, I told my students to look at the data, to analyze it. And unfortunately, there's still a lot of missing data. The biggest missing data is, how are the children going to actually be separated on this campus? I know that this change needs to be made. We see that. I see that in the low enrollment in my own child's classroom. But they're not a campus within a campus. They're in a quad that students have to walk through to get to their classes. I ask that you please re-look at the structure of how you can create better separation.
Thank you for your public comment.
Next, we have Bobby Price.
Hello, my name is Bobby Price. I have 3 daughters, but 2 of them are school age. I have one that is a freshman here at Cactus, and I have a daughter who's in 6th grade who, if you guys approve this, will be going to high school with her sister a few years earlier than expected. But I'm a little on the fence more than others. I grew up in Maryland. I was also in the military, and I have a lot of friends around the country that there are other states that do models that are K through 12, and they do mix and they do work. I personally I think this is being rushed too much. This was just brought on a lot of people just in kids a few months ago. And I'm also a volunteer coach at my daughter's middle school, and these kids are panicking. I'm dealing with 30 of them in practice, and I've heard 10 different schools that these kids are all talking about going to with their already parents. So I really hope you guys are understanding there's going to be big waves. I think if you guys don't fully listen to everybody, and I'm not saying don't do this long term, but I think it's happening too quick. And I don't think there's enough answers for all the parents for a lot of the questions. And one of them for me that is very big is sports. I grew up with not the greatest parents. I grew up in Baltimore, and coaches in sports changed my life. If it wasn't for coaches in sports, I wouldn't have made it to 21, and then I wouldn't have made it to the military, which really changed my life. But I just want to say, and my daughter, she's a 6th grader. She's been waiting the last few years to get into sports because you got to be in 6th grade to play sports. And she's got that chance this year now. And I'm kind of worried what's going to happen next year. Are there going to be sports here for the 7th and 8th graders? And if there is, you're talking about what, I don't know how many, you're talking about a few hundred kids. So that can't just have one sports team, right? Because it's going to be pretty unfair. A lot of parents brought up a lot of points today, but one of the big ones for me is sports. And if you guys eliminate sports from middle schools and you eliminate sports at the 6th grade level, you're going to have a lot of bored kids. And if you have a lot of bored kids, you're going to have a lot more troubled kids. That's not the answer here. I don't know what is the answer exactly, but I do think the biggest thing everyone needs to do up on that board is slow down. Maybe we're not able to because of money and stuff, but I know one thing I think Mr. Jeff brought up a couple meetings ago. What I remember is they said they could sell Kachina and make $21 million around. That's the school with the lowest enrollment. If you just sold one school and then you could not make all these other changes, you'd have 21 million, and in a few more years to think about the best to go for from there. Thank you, guys.
Next, and on the same side of our auditorium, we have Carrie Guatron Webb.
My name is Carrie Guatron Webb, and I am currently a 6th grade student at Oakwood Elementary. I have many concerns about this proposal, being that I will be going into 7th grade next year. First, I have talked to many students across my grade, and they don't feel safe around these older kids. Many have brought up concerns of bullying, smoking, drinking, and other things that our students are being put at risk for, and it isn't fair. Second, what happens to sports, patriotic speech contests, and other things at Oakwood? Would they get rid of it all? That could destroy the schools that we know and love. Also, a lot of students don't want to go to high school this early. They think that it is unfair that the board members haven't yet asked the children for their opinions and the fact that the kids get to vote. I have 3 younger sisters, 2 of which are in 4th grade. They don't like the idea of this and now want to move schools or be homeschooled. There are many other options than this. Maybe combine Kachina and Pioneer instead of closing both schools, or add new programs to increase enrollment. But please, leave Oakwood out of this. We have the numbers, we have the kids, and we obviously must be doing something right to have an overcapacity. So maybe do some more research. That would help the other schools to be better and fill up those seats. So please, think of the kids, the families, and the teachers, and reconsider and revisit other options before hurting this district even more. Thank you.
Thank you. We have just a few remaining speakers. You'll notice they're all on one side, but I want to encourage you, if your name is on this list, please feel free to move forward to the microphone that is closest to where you are seated. I believe on the side, the left side here of the auditorium, we have Felicia.
Yes, hi, I'm Felicia. I'm not from this state, I'm from New York, moved here 7 years ago, but my husband and I were able to buy a house 2 years ago. And when I was talking to people that lived where I was at the time, they recommended Peoria School District. So we were looking at places in Peoria close to my mother-in-law. And then elementary school, they were talking about Pioneer. So we did buy the house close to Pioneer. My child is in 1st grade. And being the first time applying for a school in a new state was very scary, but I had a great experience with the help from the staff at Pioneer. My child really enjoyed, especially her first day of kindergarten. She was very scared, and they were very supportive. So I do feel that it's a growing family, although I've been with them for only going on 2 years. I will have my middle child who will be a kindergartner. But my concern and questions regarding is the transportation. So if Pioneer happens to close, what will happen to the staff members? I know my child is asking what's going to happen to her teachers or the people she sees at the bus pick off, or some of her classmates, the upper classmates that kind of walk her for breakfast if she gets scared sometimes. And transportation, so if they do go to Foothills, like RK, and I think another parent mentioned RK and 8th graders, like, is one bus going to take them? Is one bus going to take them and then drop off the 7 at Cactus and then take them to Foothills? Like, how is that going to work? Especially going off Greenway. I know there was an incident a couple years ago where these children were injured crossing the street by Cactus, by Greenway over there. And then on the bus, will there be another adult? Because you have these young children with preteens. And you know, that bus ride might be for a little bit, but anything could happen. And then, I don't know, this is really nerve-wracking. But I do enjoy the school. I think it's something that is rushed. I know that the budget didn't really pass when there was the voting for it. But as a parent, you know, like, I remember from my school, the relationship I had with the teachers and the staff member and the community at the school I went to. And my child is starting to really enjoy where she's at and really loves it. I know the change is scaring her, although she is in 1st grade, you know, she's hearing what's going on. So that's something just to take consideration regarding that. And also, like, a lot of the parents here that are discussing their school closures, there's a lot of like community on those campuses, and they really are passionate about the school. So just keep that in consideration when thinking of the closing. And I think I'm done. Oh my God. Okay.
Thank you. To our team that is running our cameras, we are staying on this side of the auditorium. And next up, we have Lysandra Olivo Ramirez.
Hi, I'm a Kachina alumni, Cactus alumni. Just a few things that I noticed everyone's saying that it's budget cuts that's making the schools close. I think it has more to do with enrollment. When most of the schools in Area 2 were built, they were built a school within every square mile. And people bought their homes and had children when they bought their homes. Well, though their children are grown, they still own their homes. The other areas, if you look at the map, the other areas are maybe a school within every 3 to 4 square miles. So their enrollment's a little bit different because they have a bigger area of children. Kachina, Pioneer, we are within a square mile. There's not that many children in our neighborhoods anymore. There really isn't. We're homeowners now. I mean, I went to Kachina. All my kids went to Kachina. My last one is graduating out of Kachina this year. All 4 of my kids will be graduating and attending Cactus. But I think it has a lot more to do with numbers than budget cuts when it comes to the enrollment. And at Kachina, the class size, we have 1 class per grade at Kachina. 1 kindergarten, 1 first. I think there's 8th grade has 2 classes, and I think 5th grade or 4th grade has 2 classes, but everything else is just 1 class per grade. Last year, 1st grade had like 13 kids. That's it. We don't have numbers at Kachina. The only thing I can suggest, like a lot of parents have said, is that Cactus, you know, maybe try the separation thing a new plan with that. And 63rd Avenue in the morning, for these younger 7th and 8th graders to attend Cactus, 63rd Avenue in the morning is dark, busy. Parents drive like crazy people. They don't pay attention. Kids are running in front of cars. I've almost hit a kid or 2 because kids don't pay attention, and it's dark. It is so dark. There needs more lighting. There's 1 staff member out there, and they're on their phone over by the gate on the other side of the buses and can't see anything that's going on. There needs to be more supervision and a better separation plan. But as far as I know this is not going to land well, but I'm for closing the schools. Just because I understand the enrollment numbers, just how many homeowners we have who are elderly or just don't have kids anymore. We don't have a lot of rentals in our neighborhood. We have condos, we have townhomes, but they're owned. Most of them are owned. And I've lived there since 1983. And people who've lived there, like my family has, they're still there. And that's what the low enrollment is. It's not because they're going to charter schools or anything.
Thank you for your public comments.
Thank you.
Mrs. Airy, I just want to check in on our superintendent board members. Does anybody need to use the restroom? Okay, we're going to continue then. Okay.
Thank you, President Rooks. Next up, we have Natalie Thakrin on the same side of the auditorium.
It's actually Thakra with an H at the end, but good evening. I'm the parent of 2 Oakwood students, one in kindergarten and one in 2nd grade. My husband is a former Oakwood Raider, and my mother-in-law taught in the Peoria Unified School District at Heritage in Oakwood for 15 years, and she still helps out at the school with my daughter in kindergarten. Oakwood is the entire reason we moved into our house, because we wanted our kids to go to Oakwood, and we wanted our kids going to a school district without a junior high model. We wanted them to go to a school with a K-8 model. I ask you, please reconsider putting the Oakwood community in this model. Why disrupt a thriving school and community? I also have to say that I was surprised to hear tonight that this restructuring will save only $1 million with a $21 million deficit. And I'm asking you, is all this disruption to the community, all this disruption to the schools, to the faculty and the students, worth saving only $1 million in a $21 million deficit? Like many others in this room, we will also consider moving our kids out of the district if this goes through. And that breaks my heart because we love Oakwood and we love our community. I grew up in a junior high setting. I went to Desert Foothills off of 35th Avenue and Greenway. And those years were some of the worst in my schooling because of the model of a junior high setting. We want our kids to go to a K-8. Kids are growing up too fast these days. And the whole reason we chose to move into this district was the K-8 model. It's what makes Peoria Unified different, and it is what makes us successful. Please reconsider this proposal, and at a minimum, please reconsider including Oakwood in this new model. They have consistently been one of the best schools in the district for over 30 years, and they deserve to be left alone. Thank you.
Next, we have Karen Gustafson.
I just have a short request to just please ensure that Cactus Team 498 Team Robotics remains in good hands. Thank you.
And over on the other side, we have Megan.
Good evening. My name is Megan, and I'm an employee of the Peoria Unified School District, but most importantly, I am a mom to 3 children at Oakwood. I have a kindergartner, a 3rd grader, and a 5th grader. My children love their school, and we have intentionally chosen Oakwood to be their home. Even bought a house in the boundary of Oakwood because we knew that's where we wanted our children to grow up. I'm here tonight because we oppose the proposal to move Oakwood to a 7 to 12th grade campus. One piece that has not been fully discussed, but has been brought up briefly by others, is how athletics for middle school students will change under this model. Currently, Oakwood junior high students get to participate in school sports such as volleyball, cheer, basketball, baseball, flag football. These programs are designed for their age group. They are accessible, developmentally appropriate, and centered on participation, teamwork, and growth. These experiences give our students motivation, and it allows them to represent their school alongside their peers in their own age. In a 7 to 12 grade campus, junior high athletics would no longer exist in the same environment. Even during the open house, we were told maybe there would be flag football, and that was it. They said, didn't hear anything about girls' sports. They said maybe, but no answers were given to parents. Reached out to staff of Cactus, no answers were given. So that's information that parents haven't fully been given access to of what that will look like for our kids. My kids have been talking about playing athletics at Oakwood with Mr. Tim on flag football since they were in 2nd grade. These are things that they have looked forward to for years growing up, and that they will possibly lose those opportunities to participate in. I also want to speak about recess. We touched about it on a little bit, heard about it, but our middle schoolers still play. If you go out to Oakwood during lunch, you see football games and basketball games and gaga ball games, and you see kids standing in groups and socializing. not being directed by adults. And that's still developmentally appropriate at their age. They need those opportunities and they need that access to that independent, free exploration that isn't going to be available on a 7th to 12th grade campus. I saw firsthand during the open house how the district is highlighting the career and technical education electives, and I agree those are substantive, and I know my kids would enjoy them, but it doesn't look at the reality of the safety that I know many people here have touched on already, so I'm not going to also bring that up, but we can't distinguish from a lanyard and cameras to count on our kids being safe through these shared homes. We've talked a little bit about it again, so I won't bring too much, but as we know, Oakwood families consistently don't choose to come to Cactus High School. Over the last 4 years, the data has shown that almost half of Oakwood families choose to open enroll to Centennial High School, and only 37% choose to go to Cactus. That's important. That's meaningful that Oakwood families choose to go to other campuses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our final speaker this evening on the other side of the auditorium is Danica.
Hi, I'm Danica Gerbic, a student at Oakwood, and I've been here for about 2 to 3 years. Now, personally, I would love to go to Cactus because of how many opportunities I have seen they have. But honestly, I have many concerns myself from what I've seen this evening. 1, 11 to 13-year-olds will be going to a high school. Now, kids are still maturing over a long period of time, and I personally don't think they should be paired with 18-year-olds because you don't know anything that can happen. A lot can happen in any setting, even in K through 8, but a lot can also happen in 7 through 12. And second, why should we include a very well-performing school like Oakwood? Now, don't get me wrong, I know that Cactus has a lot of opportunities and more clubs, but Oakwood has been a very well-performing school for a very long time, and I think we should keep it and include 3. I think we need to think more of more alternatives. I also think that we should have a more longer period to what else we can do, and just other things to think of. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to all of our speakers this evening. President Rooks, that concludes the list of speakers that we have. I would like to just once again encourage our community, if you have not yet had an opportunity, to scan the QR code to share your feedback, or you may visit peoriaunified.org/school closures. That's also where you will find additional information related to what was presented this evening, as well as frequently asked questions, which we do plan to update based on many of the questions that we did hear shared this evening. Thank you, President Rooks.
Thank you, Mrs. Airy. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. We are now going to move on to 4, adjournment of public hearing, 4.1, adjournment. I just need a motion to adjourn. So motion, I will second. So as your motion made to adjourn by Mrs. Bowles and seconded by myself. And if you could run us through a voice vote, please. Yes. Public hearing is adjourned at 8:31 p.m. Thank you.
Have a good night, all. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Have a good night, all. Thank you.